roll.
Yeah, man. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence, deep within the Gold Court bunker. How you guys doing? I'm Ice, your host. It's the Monday edition. We have a very special Monday edition for today. I just want you guys to know that we're going to be discussing this from the get. So this is no monologue, no news, no nothing, no whatever. I want to introduce, of course, Carol Whitmore, Kristina Keenan, and, of course, Tim Jensen from the... Oops, wrong slide. There we go. From the VFW and, of course, the Grunt Foundation. Ladies, Tim, welcome to the Monday edition. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, doing well. Looking forward here.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is awesome. Tim, we don't. Yeah, you Tim, you always talk. Anyways, me and you talk. You might as well just pull up a chair next to me.
I'm in big company. I'm in big company right now, so I'll sit over here.
Yeah, exactly. First off, you guys know that Carol Whitmore is the national commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars organization, and Kristina Keenan is the National Legislative Service liaison. Did I get that right?
Close enough. Legislative directors.
The legislative directors. Oh, sorry about that.
All good.
The politics is new to me in all this. So first off, you guys are here to chat about some legislative issues already. And so, Carol, could you just give us a little bit of background about yourself?
I spent 15 years on active duty and 21 reserve time, total of 36 in the Army, retired nurse. I earned my eligibility in Iraq, and I'm very proud to be the representative of the Veterans of Foreign Wars and all my fellow comrades that are combat veterans.
That's awesome. What about you, Kristina? Can you give us background about yourself?
Sure. I served in the Army National Guard from 1999 to 2005, deployed twice to the Balkans. And I really didn't get in touch with the veteran community until many years after getting out of the military. But as soon as I was eligible after my first deployment, I signed up and joined the VFW because I knew it was sort of this, group of veterans that I had just sort of graduated into this class of, a specific group of veterans that had all deployed, and we have unique experiences. So it was the first veteran group that I felt like I needed to be a part of.
And of course, we all know Tim Jensen, big boss over at the Grunt Foundation and Grunt. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, buddy. Good to see you.
You too, man. You too. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. We're here to talk about the Taking Care of Veterans Act, bill changes and all that. Kristina, can you tell us what exactly is this? First off, what is the David Starr Act? What is the Major David Starr Act?
Oh, the Major Richard Starr Act.
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. My apologies.
Yeah, the Major Richard Starr Act is a component of the Take Care of America's Veterans Act. So Major Richard Starr, this is a concurrent receipt piece of legislation. So there are veterans who retired and have a VA disability that don't get both of their benefits. If they're less than 50% as far as a VA rating, they get an offset. And so the way that we're looking at trying to chip away at this, Congress couldn't solve this overnight because it's so expensive. So the Major Richard Starr Act would take care of the combat disabled veterans. It's a group of about 55,000. So that's a way to start sort of chipping away at it. Like, let's look at the folks who were medically retired because of combat injuries. Let's take care of them next. And so that's, the clean version of the bill, HR 2102. Congressman Bill Arakis introduced the bill this Congress. VFW and many, many other veteran organizations support that bill. And so what Chairman Boss, chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, did was wrapped it into his end of year package, the Take Care of America's Veterans Act. So happy to talk more about that, but that's kind of, you know, a little bit of the background of the bigger package, which, you know, at the end of every Congress and even at the end of every year, the committee usually comes together and puts together a package of many different bills that.
Oh yeah, for some
veteran
reason.
support.
For some reason, it just seems like Congress just like to slap extra to kind of like, it's almost like it diluted the original intent of the act itself. Now, just to be clear, the act provided combat-connected concurrent receipt for combat-connected veterans, not the ones that are just normal, that are not retired.
Correct.
How does that work?
So it addresses those who had Chapter 61 medical retirements. Mm-hmm. But within that group, those who also receive combat-related special compensation. So those who had combat injuries, so they were medically retired because of their combat injuries. So it's a subsect of the medical retirees.
Okay.
And so even those folks have the offset. They don't get both of those benefits. So their retirement is a DoD benefit. Their disability is a VA benefit earned for very different reasons. There's an offset. They don't get the full compensation. And a lot of these folks need that compensation.
Right.
You know, medically retired injuries that are, you know, sometimes lifelong injuries.
There's a reason they got those compensations, and they depend on that money now because they need that money. They were injured to a point where they can no longer function either at a regular job, civilian job, or whatever work they desire to do. So that it's called an earned benefit, but it was earned the hard way in combat. And that's what needs to be remembered about this. It's not a given disability. It was evaluated by medical personnel. And that's what we're trying to keep with the Major Richard Starr Act, not with the Take Care of America Veterans Act, because that takes away the medical ability. And I'm sorry to jump in, Kristina, but this is my passion. You know, the Major Richard Starr Act was an act I was trying to get passed, you know, along with Kristina and Ryan Gallucci for the past 4 years. It's a deserved action that needs to happen. And I cannot say enough about how it needs to be a clean bill. The Take Care of America Veterans Act, if they take out Section 108, it solves everything because they want to take away sleep apnea and tinnitus from the Major Richard Starr Act. And those are, there's, you know, tinnitus sounds like a very minor injury, but there's so many secondary things that happen from tinnitus. It's constant, it's persistent, it's intrusive, it has effects of sleep deprivation, depression, headaches, balance issues. Tinnitus is not just a simple low-hanging fruit, so to speak. On the scale of disability, there are so many secondary problems that happen from tinnitus. Sleep apnea, you know, hypoxia, low blood oxygen, cardiovascular problems, depression, gastrointestinal reflux disease. There are so many secondary problems from both of these. You cannot say they are just the lowest on the totem pole. One has the most percentage value. Sleep apnea has the most percentage value, and tinnitus has one of the lowest. And where they came up with this is very questionable. These are medical symptoms, medical diagnoses that Congress has no business getting into. These are medical diagnoses. And Congress should never set a precedence in trying to take those away.
Well,
Sorry.
no. This is perfect. This is perfect because I was going to ask. I mean, Carol, you already hit it on the head already. But a lot of people don't realize is that sleep apnea also is connected to traumatic brain injury as well.
Yes, direct link to that.
And so when I see that being like messed around with, does that mean and this is just me just sitting out, not being involved in all this? To the layman, it looks like they're trying to now it's almost like a pathway to change the compensation or change any type of rating or I guess you would say evaluation of how traumatic brain injury is going to be treated.
Yes, correct. That you're absolutely correct about that. It is a direct link from TBI injuries, and once you start, changing the medical rating, what is next on the list then? If you want to change tinnitus and sleep apnea over to a congressional change, then what's the next thing on the list? Are we going to change prosthetics? Well, you have another leg, so you can get by without a prosthetic then. How do you make that determination when you don't have the medical expertise to do that?
Right.
I'm sorry, I get very passionate about this, and I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
My biggest thing is that when it was funny that this just came out, this just snuck out. Literally, matter of fact, I'm gonna window cap this and I'm gonna show you guys. No, I mean, well, you could talk it. That just a few months ago, the VA was going to do some sort of disability rating change for how you took medication. Now, is this now snuck into this new provision?
So the provision that Carol's talking about is in Section 108, is essentially how the bill package would be funded, which is codifying proposed VA rating changes from 2022, which likely won't happen, or if they do, not in the form that they were originally proposed through the regulatory process. So what happened in February and in March was VA had proposed rulemaking. That's how they change regulation, and got to the final stage of changing how conditions are looked at and rated based off of medication that you take. And the veteran community was so strongly against it that VA reversed that rulemaking process and ended it. And so that's the process. VA, can put out that they're going to change a regulation, then it goes to the Federal Register for public comment. Then they have to respond to those comments and decide if they're going to modify that rulemaking or go through with it or not go through with it. It's an entire process. And as Carol said, Congress has no business being part of that process. This is, these regulations are updated regularly, despite what some people may think and claims that they haven't been updated in 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. That's simply not true. These regulations are looked at and reviewed consistently. And, they are also not codified because they're not meant to be permanent. They're meant to be, updated because of new medical evidence as needed. And so for Congress to come in and get ahead of the regulatory process and codify something which has not been finalized is a way to try to, find a budget for a bill that has a very large cost. But we do think of it as a slippery slope. What else could Congress look at as reducing in order to find funding for other legislation?
Yes, and it sets a precedence then. If we let Congress take charge of the VA ratings, what is next? Plus we're also denying those ratings to our future veterans, our future comrades, on the battlefield. They would never be able to file for sleep apnea or for tinnitus. And that's unconscionable. to set that kind of precedence for my grandson, your grandson, for for my granddaughters. If they are in the military and TBI happens to them and tinnitus from one concussive area or another, they cannot file for that. That's egregious, and it can't be done. It should never be done.
I think also what I'm seeing a lot of the friction, I guess you'd say, and the static out there is everyone asking, well, where have you guys been on this on the Richard Starr Act? I think you guys were part of the writing of it. I can remember back in 2021.
Yes, we were.
This was the biggest. This was the biggest. This was the biggest deal to come out that I would see just you see feed or something like that or news outlet talking about it. But the VFW has been part of this, and yes. Mind you guys, no one's paying me shit. Okay, so I'm just saying this right now. I do some research. Tim knows. Me and Tim have talked about this before any discussions of the VFW. The VFW has actually assisted in writing the Richard Starr Act as well. So it's not like all of a sudden the VA just showed up. This is legit since 2021 that I've seen, at least the most of the reporting that I've been doing, and I don't understand at what point did all of a sudden it get to where now this new provision, this new I would call it a dirty bill. I don't give a shit. I'll say it. Did it get mudded in the waters? Where was the point? Where was the benchmark where we got to that? How did it get there?
It comes down to money. It's always about money.
I mean, Carol mentioned it in her testimony before Congress in February, and we've testified multiple times on this, had many press conferences, lots of social media, Hill days for years, visiting every single congressional office. And all of that has built momentum, not only the VFW's involvement, but all the organizations being on board and making it a priority. That's how the PACT Act came to be. Everyone united, made it really loud. And there's always sort of a breaking point where everyone, is pushing for it, but wondering, why does it not pass every year, every Congress? What's going on? And so then, you got billboards, you've got social media, there's just a huge outcry. And Congress, I believe, really, started to pay attention. We're also heading into midterms. So folks are looking for a way to support veterans. And this is the bill that everyone's being really loud about. So everyone wants to move it forward. Ranking Member Takano, tried to do a discharge petition to move it forward. Then you've got Chairman Boss putting it into his bill package because he wants to get it forward. So everybody wants to see it move. They're not necessarily working together to make it move forward. They all want the win. They're going to do it their own way. And we know, and Tim, it was part of the PACT Act movement. When we all work together, that's when it gets accomplished. But if everyone wants to do it on their own and look good in front of whoever, then it starts to break down, and you get proposals that are not necessarily what veterans originally were asking for.
What they did succeed in is dividing people.
That's right.
And dividing people, organizations on what they support. And some organizations, are completely on board with the TCAVA, the Take Care of American Veterans Act, but VFW does not support it at all, because you're setting a precedence, and it's shameful that Congress has done that. It's divided service organizations on support.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really challenges me from looking at this, being 2 years on the road with you guys of the VFW and this relationship with the Grunt Foundation, and working with Kristina on the PACT Act, is the rubbing is racing. I get that, right? Everybody wants to see their thing. A lot of the people that are part of the 60 VSO groups that have come together to get their passion projects across the finish line, we've all worked on. Everybody on this call, everybody on this meeting, we've all worked on all those things. Long nights, long calls, trying to advance this, pulling celebrities in for that, doing all these different things. We've worked on all of them. But now we're at this point where we're going to make a run on the bank. and we're negotiating our compensation. Like what? Whoa. No, I don't think so. I'm not. At no point do you start negotiation by giving up things you've already earned. Period.
You know, I think one of the. Oh, I'm sorry. Her mic is. I'm sorry, Kara. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Tim is absolutely right. You should never have to negotiate for health benefits.
You guys did post on your social media, and this is from the VFW, is that I'm quoting that your social media post is, don't confuse opposition to the pay for with opposition to benefits. The VFW supports the Major Richard Starr Act, survivors, caregivers, and improve mental health support. What we oppose is asking future disabled veterans to pay the bill through reduced disability compensation. We don't have to choose between helping veterans today and protecting veterans tomorrow. And what I don't get is what everyone, you know, if you guys have been in the fight from the get-go, from the act, from where it started. And I don't understand. And again, I'm not like you, Christine. I'm not up in the smart on the legislative side of the house. How is it that in other words, whose idea that came along to this and said, all right, now we're going to put this shit in here, and the other Richard Starr X, yeah, whatever, and we're not going to do this, and then this is how we're going to. Who did it? Who brought it up? Who was the one that actually, hey, you know what?
Sounds like DOD. Call me crazy.
Well, I mean, it's
frustrating. It's what I'm saying. It's fucking frustrating. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
You don't have to look far. I mean, it is Chairman Bost's bill. He introduced it in the House, and Chairman Jeremy Moran in the Senate. It's their you know, their staff, their offices that put together this bill package, and included this, what we consider a poison pill way to fund it, to reduce disability benefits. And when you think about it, I mean, people who are serving in the military today would have less access to disability benefits than those who came before them. It's our job to make the process better and to get them to access these benefits easier, quicker, not to have them have less than what we had. And so those who are, like Carol said, those who are in harm's way today, who could have sleep apnea and tinnitus, would not have the same benefits that people do today. We've never seen that before. We've never seen that. Reducing benefits, I think, has been proposed, you know, decade after decade, and we always shoot that down. We always revert back to our service members and our veterans deserve the compensation that they've earned.
You know, and this is very interesting in that this is a very similar circumstance we encountered during the PACT Act, right? Where they tried to, you know, in the 11th hour, they pulled the rug out from underneath the legislation and saying, "Oh, it's good. We found this poison pill that the funding didn't start in the House of Representatives. You got to kick it back." Went back, came back, you know, and then it became a conversation around $400 billion of discretionary versus mandatory spending, and that's where the entire conversation got to be. Where you know, this same conversation here is the nuances and the devil in the details of what mandatory spending and what discretionary spending are in that conversation versus the type of spending that's happening in this conversation. The way that it's being framed and the way that it's being pushed forward is of bad logic and is being misrepresented. The same way Ted Cruz misrepresented the $400 billion and that spending way of the PACT Act. The same thing is being done here, and it's ridiculous, and it needs to be called out because, again, these are projects that need to be finished. All of them that are in this bill, and it needs to be done the right way.
I love how putting all these bills together shows that, you know, the chairman both, you know, think that these are valuable bills to move forward. Why haven't they moved them forward previously? You know, so they're showing that everybody, you know, wants these done. They're bipartisan. They've got a lot of support. But why couldn't these move? Some of them have low cost too. Why couldn't they move forward before now? Now you got to put them all together.
I was about to say, I think it's a little bit of there's some outside money some outside influence to where hey, I'm the psyop guy here, so I'll be the conspiracy theorist here. There's some outside interest. There's some groups out there like Claim Sharks and all that shit that I'm sorry, they put their mouth in it, and then all of a sudden they grab the interest of somebody who's. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tim.
Let's talk about. I mean, there's the big gorilla in the room, right? There's a $1.5 trillion spending NDAA budget coming down the pike. $1.5 trillion. It's already been announced. Like, do you think veteran groups are going to be like, hey, why are we spending $1.5 trillion? We're not at war. What are we doing? Like, are we getting bought off to get an
that's what I'm
NDAA?
saying. That's what it looks like. I mean, if you look at and there's some same dudes that comments here in the chats. The same dudes that take tons of money from Claim Sharks, definitely trustworthy guys. Yes, yeah, I just said that too. So yeah, it's there's a question in here is like, what's your take on the issue with the automatic decline on reported issues and claims in the thousands recently reported? Now the VA apparently has to go back and look at these claims.
Yeah. You know, the other thing with the Major Richard Starr Act is, Kristina mentioned, it affects about 55,000. Well, even of that 55,000, not everybody is going to take their retirement for that, and you know, maybe 3/4 of those people, because most people, you know, very unfortunately, a lot of people that were Chapter 61 were E3s, E4s that got, you know, hurt very early in their career. They're not going to take retirement. They're going to keep their, you know, CRSC and keep that disability. So it doesn't even come out, you know, monetarily as much as what Congress is making out to be. They've bloated the numbers, and it's shameful on their part, you know, that they have exploited those numbers and those people, you know, for their budgetary offset, for their own you know, protection of their money. It's not their money, it's our money.
And it's funny that Congress needs an offset for this bill, for the Major Richard Starr Act, but there's plenty defense money that does not require offsets. So it's very hard to tell veterans that this is too expensive. You got to find a way to pay for it, and we got to take from veteran benefits to pay for it when Congress passes things all the time without offsets. Isn't this worth it? Are service members who've been injured in combat worth it? So it's hard to explain that, why we got to find offsets for this.
Yes, and very shamefully, Chairman Bost is a veteran, and he is the one that put this in. Shame on you, Chairman Bost.
I was about to ask that. What's his status was as a veteran, and what has he been, you know?
He was a Marine. He was a Marine.
Okay. He was a Marine. Tim's like, wait a minute.
You know, of anybody that should be taking care of us, it should be our own people. Nobody else is going to do it for us. That's why we are here, and that's why we do what we do.
Right.
And you know, if not us, then who? I'll borrow that from Travis Manion all day long. If not us, then who?
Mm-hmm. Now, has anybody provided like a breakdown of what? Because, you know, every time we see, oh, we're not going to do this, or we're not. I'm going to tell you, the younger generation, they love slideshows and cartoons and memes and stuff, or whatever. Has anybody? We're going to talk about the memes in a minute. Has anybody really gotten the, like, hey, look here, like to at least not to say dispute what you're saying, but to kind of look, hey guys, here's the way, because I'll be honest with you, our government comms suck. That's just me. From my own point of view, no one has ever been able to sit down and articulate where monies are going to, or this is how it's working, and all that. Has anybody come down and said, "Hey, look, this is what we're trying to do, guys, and this is the breakdown"? Has anybody provided any of that type of media? Yeah.
No.
I'm about to say.
Here's what we do know is that you know, a lot of influencers are getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar, being paid to support the bill, and they're like, some of them are on active duty and they are, you know, on complicity. doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Oof.
And,
Yeah, I was about to
there's a-
say, I
there's
want
a
some of
lot
that.
of-
How come I don't?
there's a lot of money.
Okay, now joking aside, it never happens to Ken. What's up with that shit? How is it that everyone's like walking around going, yeah, I got paid this, or he got paid that, or that person got paid this, or they got specific this? I'm like, whoa. How come? I'm joking, of course, but I was like, holy shit. How do people fall into that? I mean, my biggest thing is it's almost like it's a lot of gatekeeping of information too, of what's not going to be put out and what's going to be in it. And then no, we're really going to help you guys. Are you seeing like any trends of people saying that's a haves and haves not, where you're only talking about combat veterans, but what about the other veterans? Are you seeing anything like that?
There's always that kind of conversation. And, even if hopefully we see the Major Richard Starr Act pass, but it's also going to shed light on all the other folks that have the offset still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the start of something that we're trying to resolve, which is concurrent receipt. But, the bill, the Take Care of America's Veterans Act, it helps survivors, it helps severely disabled veterans. And so a lot of those groups are looking at this as like the only opportunity to get their bills passed. So it's very attractive, the package that has been created. But then you've got the poison pill of reducing disability benefits. And I think some groups are saying, well, maybe this is like a one-time thing. And, let's just get this bill passed and, help some veterans and survivors. And this is only going to happen once. But we know that that's not true. Once you open the floodgates to the disability compensation, why would Congress stop there?
It's a dangerous precedence.
Not only that, but not only is it dangerous precedence, but once it's passed, it's going to be a bitch to reverse it. It is going to be so hard. And then
Okay, guys. Like, let me think. Like, it's been 27 years. We're going on 27 years, right? And we still get frisked at the airport. What laws ever get rolled back?
Never going back.
They don't.
Never
They don't.
going
Exactly.
back.
They get more aggressive because the government is not benevolent. It wants more power.
Yeah, it's never going back. If you think it's hard to pay for the Major Richard Starr Act, do you think that disability benefits are ever coming back?
Yeah, it is. It just opens the door for everything else to be scrutinized.
Yeah, and not only that, but also it'll be to get those back. There's going to be a lot of time, money wasted, and a lot of more pork to get put in to get it reversed, and other side quests and riders that are going to be in there. I'm just, it's frustrating, man. I really don't understand how. And again, I'm just a layman here. I'm not smart on the stuff when it comes to something like that, and I can't believe I'm Matthew just says in the chat, surprised we don't get colonoscopies at this point.
Hey, whoa! Wait, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about the veterans that went in for a colonoscopy and came out with HIV.
Yeah.
But go fuck yourselves. This is ridiculous.
Let's see. So with the VA having to go back to look at these claims, that's a backlog on claims further, even using an automated system. The same guy said, by the way, Tim, Marines like those. I guess the colonoscopy stuff. I'm just reading the comments right quick. One could speculate they're going to someone's steak dinner in house. Pat said, if the VFW went around the table like this and helped pushing the MSRA across the line, we wouldn't be here, as well as the IVA and other orgs. What's that about?
No, they're criticizing us for not pushing the Take Care of America's Veterans Act. That's how I read that.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Tim, too, we've been part of this bill, Major Richard Starr Act, since it was an idea.
Yes.
So not everyone's been following our advocacy on this. So I get it. Some people think we just jumped in at the last minute.
Yeah, it says 2021. Hey, that's the best part of being old. I see this shit and I'm like, hey, I remember this happened. And then I literally asked him, I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't this shit that we were doing like in 2021 or something like that? And yeah, this is the same one, Ken. I'm like, well, so how is it that now? I mean, I'll be honest with you. These guys are just I'll be honest. This is partisan bullshit politics, taking cheap shots at you guys when you guys have been part of the whole heart of the whole programming, I should say, the writing of it, the messaging of it, just like the PAC Act. I remember being part of that.
Money is a hell of a thing, my friend.
I was about to say,
it drives a lot of people.
But I don't get any of it. That's the problem. I'm just kidding. Oh, hey, so Christina, what's the score right now on the? I know what we're talking about.
Oh gosh, we're losing. Oh gosh,
We're losing.
This is losing.
Oh man, we're losing. Oh,
It's 2-1.
oh, 2-1. Okay, I'm
Yes,
gonna get to the heat. I'm gonna get to the spice right now. Memes. The honor the contract shirt that has been going around that everyone's been talking about. Oh, this is for Second Amendment, whatever amendment. Let me show you guys what the meme is about. This is a meme that everyone lost their shit about that was posted and that's being worn on T-shirts and all that. And of course, the VFW stands by its memery. I love it. You've come to the right place, anyways, when it comes to memes, because we post memes all the time. But
Memery, I like that.
Meme them until they cry, and then make memes of them crying. That's the best rule. So
That's a 100-year-old cartoon actually that was taken from.
Right.
And that's nothing new. That's been around since we've been at war. We use those kinds of things to make a point. And in nowhere does that say Congress in there. It says bureaucrats. It doesn't say Congress. And so for people to take that so personally, why did you take it personally? Because it is you.
Yeah. And they're the first guys that will sit there and talk about Killdozer, the guy who built that armored bulldozer to tear up the town. But that when you post that, no one says anything about that. But let me go back to this thing right here. I know exactly what political satire is. This is straight up political satire. And it's funny how people are crying about First Amendment rights and, oh no, this is my First Amendment, being sarcastic. I see you guys in the comments, and they don't. It applies to everybody when it comes to the First Amendment. I don't see anything. We posted something. Matter of fact, let me show you guys what we. And I think you guys might have seen it, but we posted an image of a VA waiting room slot ticket thingy. Like it just fired off a shot and killed a bunch of veterans inside the waiting room. And we posted this, and everyone was like, "What are you guys doing? Are you guys going with the VFW?" No, this was a shot from us to let everybody know that this is satire that was back, I don't know, 2009 to 2015 or something like that, way before this administration took charge. So it's always been part of our dialogue to discuss it. And I'll be honest with you, Tim, I remember, I've had this conversation as well. Is that whatever? Did the VA ever get back to the? It was last year. You guys talked about the suicide prevention effectiveness. Remember we talked about that. What was the? Did they ever get back to you?
Of course they did not.
Oh, okay, all right.
I want to touch really something quickly here, like. I've lived a pretty interesting life over the years, right? Before I was doing this whole grunt style thing, I was an artist, right? And I did political satire in a Chicago newspaper for 50 or 48 weeks. I ran political satire, and it was really great. And I criticized a lot of people in the city of Chicago that really deserved it. And I finally got that taken away from me because I was criticizing the president at the time too much, and they didn't like that. But a lot of the policies were crap. Just like a lot of policies that we're having to sift through right now are crap, and we're having to reimagine and refocus on something that happened back in the 1930s that we already solved with the bonus army, right? And if you guys have not done your history or paid attention in high school, and understood what the bonus army was all about and how the grievances of the World War I veterans were just trying to collecting a paycheck on a promise that was made to them that almost 20 years had gone by. And it wasn't produced on, right? And then we had our own government, the ones that we think are so benevolent, steamroll through that camp of veterans and it killed a couple people, right? So like guys, like this stuff is, coming up and saying that we're inciting political violence on a T-shirt, that is reckless. That is reckless. And Boast should be ashamed of himself. And honestly, like the Republican Party should be like, "What are we doing? Like that's embarrassing. He should be, we should, censure him at the very least on this type of behavior because it's unsensed."
Yeah. we're trying to protect our own rights. And I'm going to give Kristina some credit here. She's the one that coined the phrase honor the contract. And it could not be more perfect, because we all raised our hand and we signed a contract and said we would support and defend with our lives. And we expect that promise to be held back to us from the government. And that's why we do what we do now with our service organizations. We hold government accountable. And, that's what we have to do with the Major Richard Starr Act, is hold them accountable for what they tell us that they promised to us. And signing our name to a contract was one way we did that. So we expect the same in kind.
I just want to say, sorry, I'm echoing a little bit there. I just want to say real quick that the Richard Starr Act was co-authored, was assisted by the individuals that you see right here with me. It was not I wish you guys put more energy into this. Look, guys, gals, the energy has been there already. Where were you? Where have you been? You know what I mean? And so it's really frustrating to me, especially because I get to see some of the stuff that you guys work with Tim and all that, and especially the PACT Act stuff. And I remember this conversation. I remember this being written or co-authored and authored and polished. Ken, does this read right? What do you think of this? Does it look like you're, what would you assume with this? And I'm here to help out with the comms on this stuff. But when I see people saying the VFW didn't put up, it's almost, I wish you would have. I don't get it. It's like, I wish you'd have put gas in the car. We built the freaking car. What are you talking about? I really, again, I'm not here to insult the younger audience, but this is why it pays to be old sometimes, because I remember going through this shit. I remember seeing all this stuff. I remember seeing this getting put up, and to where the narrative, and I'm going to hunt down the narrative. I'm going to find out. Well, who exactly is the one that's been saying that the VFW hasn't been doing it? Because I've been seeing that constant repeated narrative, copy pasted. It's almost like bad on Twitter. If you go on Twitter and you just type in a term, you'll see 15 bots that have repeated the same thing. Yeah, it's almost bot-like. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not helpful whatsoever. What everyone should be saying is, all the VSOs, all the organizations have been saying this for years. Like, let's get this done, instead of saying, well, one didn't do enough or the other did more. That doesn't help whatsoever. And Tim and I saw with the PACT Act, people came together, and then there were a lot of influencers that joined on right at the end, that had no idea the work that was involved. And I didn't even care. By the end, I didn't even care. Everyone jump on the bandwagon. Like, let's get this done. Mm-hmm. But, it's not helpful to say that some are doing more than others. Like, let's all just keep pushing it, because it's the public outcry that has gotten it this far. Mm-hmm. So, like, let's try to keep putting pressure.
And that's absolutely it. Like, to think that any of these politicians are our friends, guys, they will rip the rug underneath you in a heartbeat if it makes for their situation to be any bit better, right? Because you have to remember, those 14 Republicans that broke in the 11th hour on the PACT Act broke because they were whipped by McConnell and Ted Cruz. McConnell was angry that that the Democrats won on 2 bills out of 3, and he said to Ted Cruz, we will not allow them to pass this bill. Whip the caucus and shut it down. And they shut it down. And that's when we said, oh, good to go. Let's go get all of our people together with the VFW. And we went and knocked on everybody's door, and we had conversations with everybody. And I was the guy that picked Ted Cruz because I was from Texas. And that dude had me arrested and thrown out of the building because I questioned him on his ripping out his funding at the last minute, why he whipped the caucus that way.
Oh my God.
Screw these people. Don't think that they're your friends. They will sell us out. We have to be together on this. We have to move as one, and we take what is owed to us. And we're not fucking victims. Nobody's saying we're victims. Nobody's out here saying that we're simps or anything like that. No, we're combat fucking veterans that are standing up for this entire community saying, no. You guys got us into the wars. We went and fought it. And we're protecting everybody in the future from your stupid bullshit that you're trying to pull. Just like you did in the PACT Act, we had to put all those presumptions ahead of us so that your dumbasses wouldn't try to take them away from us in the future. So that's what you have to do here, guys. And unfortunately, we're divided on this because the politicians want us to be divided because they're trying to pass a $1.5 trillion defense budget.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Tim. But, and it's not just combat veterans that are going to be affected by this. It is everybody that has worked around generators, that have worked around planes, for tinnitus, for the TBI injuries. That concussive sound is always there, and it causes trauma. It doesn't matter if you're in combat or not. So we're trying to protect every veteran. And yes, absolutely, my fellow combat veterans are foremost in my mind, but it's every veteran that is going to be affected by this bill. And that's what they need to remember. And that's why we need to come together. Service organizations need to come together and protect our rights against money.
I'm starting to see the division now of who is being. If the VFW didn't do this from other veterans groups, who are the ones that are, I don't want to say for with you guys or whatever, but who are the agitators that just are telling you guys? I mean, I don't want to go through all the memes and stuff, but
I don't know if it's helpful to even talk about that, right? Because that just adds to more of the division.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
What we need to be. I think we all need to be talking about how do we come together on this and really solve the problem. Well, it's very simple. Put Major Richard Starr Act on its own, remove Section 108,
yes,
and and bring it to the floor.
Yes,
let us vote on
Simple.
it, and everybody stand up and be counted. And if you vote no on that, tell us why.
Yes.
At least bring it to the floor. It's never been brought to the floor for a vote, and why not? Because they're afraid it won't pass. And that's what they're afraid of.
Somebody put in here. What chance do you give this actually gets passed this year before the midterms, given your experience?
Well, the committees are pushing very hard to move it quickly. So I know that Chairman Boss wanted this to pass the House even by the 4th of July. So it is what they're touting as the end of year package, but with the midterms, I think they're looking to get this done, at least through the House, by the end of July, before the August recess. So I think that's the intent, and we've heard a lot of buzz around it. But veteran groups that oppose it have been very vocal, very loud, and as we've seen on social media, individual veterans have been very upset by this. So has it slowed things down? Maybe. And I hope that there's a lot of conversations by the committee about removing Section 108, finding a different way to pay for this, looking for ways to get the Major Richard Starr Act passed in the way, however they can do that, maybe without offsets. But I think there is a strong intent to get this done well before the midterms.
Tim, you talk about some of it doesn't matter. Yes, I agree with you, but I also think that's getting all together, getting all the other veteran groups together to kind of like, hey, look, guys, here's why we're doing this. Here's why we're doing that. And me, I mean, yes, that right there, I think will assist in more so unifying. But me, I like to pick a fight sometimes. I want to find out who who's.
Well, I mean, if you're paying attention on social media, you know who the same actors are, because we talked about it a little bit earlier today. It's the same message. It's like the Mockingbird media. It's the same exact message that's coming from a very unique, group of people that you've never seen before. That all of a sudden have about 100 to 1,000 followers on their social media, right? And they're all just influencing behind a shielded. Avatar. So, it's all the same stuff, right? This is all driven by money. And I think you just need to put it down when you see it. You just call it out and no, and just call it out, right? And you boo that person, just like Dan. Here's a great example, right? Dan Crenshaw. Our little friend Dan Crenshaw, Navy SEAL extraordinaire, the darling of Texas at one point, popped his little fucking head up this week. Excuse my language, guys. I'm sorry. I don't speak for the VFW. I speak for myself. But he popped his head up this week. and saying some trash about the political violence and this, that, and the other. And like, man, I remember coming to you and talking to you about the PACT Act, and you said that you weren't going to get behind it at all because it was way too expensive, this, that, and the other. And then I saw you a week after that talking about how you're losing the vision of your remaining eyeball. But thank God that you had healthcare over at the VA, because they were going to be able to save that with the science that they have. But screw everybody else that didn't have the ability to get in line for their things because the rating system's jacked up and they weren't getting recognized. That's the type of stuff that you got to be like, boo that man, boo that person, boo that idea, sit down and get out of here, because those ideas are no longer wanted in this community. We have to get away from that trash.
Yeah, I hope the group that really comes on board and has a voice is today's soldiers, sailor, Marines, and Air Force, because this is what is going to affect their health care and their benefits when they get out and they're not able to file for these things. I hope that's the group that has the largest voice now. I realize in uniform you can't always speak your mind, but certainly they should be able to, especially when it comes to their health benefits. And it's shameful that we have to be their voice. There are so many veterans in Congress right now that are voting for the Take Care of a Veterans America Act, and they're not even thinking about their fellow comrades, their fellow veterans.
I'm curious now. Does the VFW, American Legion, IVA, AVA, all the groups, do you guys attend separation meetings like part of our transition when we get out of the military? We do SFL TAP. They used to be called ACAP. Do you guys attend those types of events to where you can provide? You do? Oh, okay.
We do.
Yeah, we try very hard to be on bases. We are at the whims of that base commander, if they let us on there or not. But most bases are very good about letting us come there. We have BDD sites now, benefits delivery at discharge, so that we can talk about those benefits that they're due, that they can file for 180 days prior to separation, so that they can start getting those benefits the day they walk out of uniform. Most bases do allow us. There are some that do not, but that's the whim of the base commander.
So we're present during transition as much as we can, but also our VFW leadership, including Carol, travel abroad and meet with service members directly. We have leaders in the VFW who are in Europe right now, meeting with service members and giving direct feedback on what they think about this, what they're worried about, what they're concerned about as they're, preparing to get out of the military or get back to the States. So, Carol has met with service members directly about their concerns, their day-to-day lives. And some of what they're concerned about is when they get out and what their benefits are going to look like.
And it's not just for them. This is going to affect their families. If they do not get that money that they deserve for what their injuries are, that affects their family life. And it just, it's a domino effect from there. It not only affects their marriages, it affects their finances, it affects their living ability, whether they become homeless or not, because of these injuries that they incurred on active duty or reserve time. They're not taking all of that into consideration. It affects the entire family for these benefits that they're trying to take away.
I'm gonna get a couple more comments here. Can you mention the 50% caps on DoD percentage pay and TCAVA?
So I think what they're talking about is the version of the Major Richard Starr Act in TCAVA has caps. So it's not the clean version of the bill. And that's a cost saving measure. So for a Chapter 61 retiree with less than 20 years, they cannot have a retirement pay income, even with the concurrent receipt, of anything more than a 20-year longevity retiree. So those caps, we don't like those caps. That's not the original intent of the bill. It was purely you receive both benefits, however that's calculated for you. And that depends on your level of disability and how DOD rates you. So those caps are to save money. Why you're going to have a watered down version in a bill that's going to use, a $57 billion offset is beyond me. Why you wouldn't even put the full version in when there's this, huge pay for that has already been set up for this bill. So we don't like that version. We like the original HR 2102 Major Richard Starr Act, the clean version of the bill.
There's another comment here. There is I've been homeless twice. I know people who have come to our ACAP. So there some people are posting testimonials of you guys showing up. So and then is there a room to take on the wait times on VA therapy sessions? A room or a rule? I think Matthew, you're trying to say
on wait times for therapy.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. It is a problem. I mean, veterans can wait many months, sometimes 6 months, 8 months for their first mental health care appointments. And I believe that's in large part due to a shortage of mental health providers, which is not unique to the VA. It's sort of nationwide, but it is a problem that needs to be resolved.
What's your guys' take, and this is for me, what's your guys' take on community care and how the VA is moving to community care as opposed to its own treatment? What do you guys feel about that?
I think Christine has had, some issues with community care. It's necessary. It doesn't always work, but I think it depends on locale also, how much wait time there is, what kind of area, especially rural versus inner city. But why don't you tell us some of what your experience, Christina?
Yeah, so community care is necessary if, the VA nearest you doesn't have the providers that you need. And so it sort of outsources to the community, or if you're at a large, long driving distance, especially in rural areas. So community care, so community providers supplement what VA can't provide, either because it's too far or they can't have the providers or it's not quick enough. So what we support is facilitating that coordination of care so that it's easier, quicker. I've used community care for a lot of my women's care, my maternity care when I had a baby, because VA doesn't provide any of that. So all of that was outsourced, but the bureaucracy to get to those appointments was horrendous. I mean, it was not smooth whatsoever. So we support improving that process, not necessarily privatizing the VA. We do not support that. It's not like everything should go to the community, but when you need the community care, it should work. It should be easy. It should be facilitated smoothly for veterans who use VA.
Let's lump this one into the same category as what we're talking about here, right? Community care, fantastic idea. If Congress really wanted to solve this problem, they would have done it during the PACT Act, because, Christina, if you remember, Senator Blackburn put a really nice community care package together that they tried to ride alongside the PACT Act. That was very nice. I think it had a lot of things in there that everybody wanted to see, right? But they all voted it down. This is, again, part of that conversation that we're having is, like, if Congress was serious about this stuff, a lot of these bills would already be, being entertained on the floor, would be given the time that they deserve in front of in front of the electorate, right? So there's no serious conversation that's coming out of Congress right now when it comes to these things. It's, here's what we're spoon feeding you. If you don't take it, then we're gonna call you a violent, blah blah blah. We're just gonna treat you poorly. Like that's not how government's supposed to work.
Yeah, the thing that about that though, Tim, also that I'm just like frustrated. I mean, I like being frustrated. It seems like I'm frustrated all the time. Where is the clean bill at right now? Like, where is it sitting right now?
For the Major Richard Starr Act, Ranking Member Takano, he filed his discharge petition. It's, so it's in the House. It's moved in that direction. So
it was like 3 or 5 signers.
Five signatures away from proceeding to a floor vote. it needs 218. It's got 213. But there, it's got to be 5 from the Republican Party. And I haven't heard that there's any movement on that. Although there are advocates strongly pushing and contacting their members of Congress to try to get that moving forward. That's one avenue. That's where the current original HR 2102 Bill bill currently sits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one I was referring to, the Bill bill.
Yeah.
And then the dirty bill came along recently. Like I don't recall this until it just popped up out of nowhere.
It popped up 550 pages of legislation that came out of nowhere.
It did literally come out of nowhere, and I'm thinking, are you going to let the veteran? See, that's the thing too. We're going to let the veteran community is going to be able to digest this, as opposed to no, you'll be good to go. No, you'll be good to go. Where is that? Have they posted it at all? The new the dirty bill. I'll call it dirty bill.
It has been introduced. Although when I and my team visited congressional offices, many of the staff had not had time to go through 550 pages of it. But that bill did go through the House Rules Committee and was voted to procedurally move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it could go to the House floor at any point when Congress is back in session.
When they're back in session.
Correct.
It just seems like we're just delayed. It's almost like every 4-day weekend. It'll be after the weekend. God. So who are the big sponsors of the clean? In other words, behind you guys, who are the bigger supporters as opposed to the not? I want to know who the ones that are supporting the clean bill. Who are the ones that are supporting that?
I think nearly every veteran organization supports the clean version of the bill. That doesn't mean that they support, the Takava bill at the same time. Some support that as well,
right,
as a vehicle to get it passed. But I think almost every veteran organization supports the clean version and have since it was introduced this Congress.
Oh, yeah. And on the Congress side of the House, who's the big supporter of the clean?
337 co-sponsors on the House side and 70 on the Senate side. So it's, it is bipartisan, lots of support. Who's the champion? I guess the authors are the
right,
the
of
sponsors
course.
are the champions. But I mean, it was hard for us to find offices that didn't support it, and especially on the House side, it was a huge number.
Senator Blumenthal's been a huge supporter also.
No, I'm sorry, you said you cut off. What was that you said?
Chairman Chicano's been a big supporter, and Senator Blumenthal has been a big supporter of it.
Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing the news talking about Rand Paul being part of it. Is he supporting it, or is he? I saw him speak up on it. I don't know if he was. I didn't catch if he was a big supporter of it.
His discussion was mostly on let's find other ways. Let's find ways to pay for this.
Right.
And making suggestions of how that could be funded. But it points to the fact that Congress is having a hard time finding money for this and not willing to waive any kind of offset on this.
But what did you say, Tim? They found $1 trillion for.
Yeah, they found somebody for Iran, right? And,
hey, we gotta keep sending those checks to the Afghanistan. That $40 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. They find that money.
Yeah, it's like Smedley Butler said, war is a racket, and it only continues because we are apathetic to it. We are not engaging it. We're not telling people stop. We keep electing or turning a blind eye. Why? Because, and I get it. Like, we're all involved in our own daily lives. Like, nobody wants to be tracking politics. It's boring. It's ugly. It's ridiculous in most cases. And right now we're kind of just trying to put food on the table because the economy is so dang terrible. I'm paying 4 times for everything. And, all I care about is making sure my family's good to go. But now I have to worry about my son, who's in the Navy right now, that might have to, be worried about his tinnitus and all the things that he's going to have to be worried. And these jackholes are going to be taking that away because they want to be financing, something that rubs me the wrong way.
Yep. It should rub everybody the wrong way.
Yeah, really. My biggest thing is that the I want names. I want like, all right, here's the guy that support. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, here we go. Name your senator.
There's. I think there will be a time. I think there'll be a time for a wall of shame.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm thank right. That's what I'm thinking. A wall of shame, or the back in the day when you got in trouble and you put somebody's UCMJ punishment on the wall. Just do it like that back in the day. Command, call it whatever, veteran justice or something like that, and just put. And people might get mad about that. Oh, there we go. This podcaster's talking with the VFW about veteran justice. What does he mean about veteran justice? Yeah, these are the fucking senators that support it, and these are the ones that don't. These are the ones that are fighting it. These are the ones that are crybabies about it.
Well, and Tim and Kristina and I were just talking about before we went on the air, it might be time for another bonus army march, to get to the attention of, Congress to say, we're not going to take this anymore. We had to do it back in the World War I days, and we're not above doing it again.
It is sad that history does repeat itself, and the greed, the brokers that are happening behind the scenes that are aggregating all of this. It's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. That's how these things work. Again, we got to fund a $1.5 trillion defense budget. We got to go after all those imaginary enemies of ours with a lot of real money, and we're all going to have to eat that. Okay, so be prepared.
What did Doge do anything to this? I wondered. Because it ended when Doge closed up 4th of July. So is Doge anywhere in this picture?
I mean, that's a good question. Why are veteran disability benefits being attacked? I mean, it does raise a bigger question, which VFW has been trying to fight the messaging that veterans get too many benefits, for the last 2-3 years, which is why we have the honor the contract messaging and campaign. But it's not the first time we've heard people say that maybe the disability benefit system is too much. And so I don't know if that's a Doge thing. I don't know where that rhetoric is coming from, but it's not the first time we've heard it. And we'll continue to fight against it because it's a bad thing to be pointing to. Let's cut veteran benefits to fund things. That is not the solution to any of our problems right now. Let's take from veterans. That's a very, very bad idea.
If I could add something on the Doge stuff, right? Back in March 2025, I penned a letter to a press release with the Grunt Foundation's header on it, basically calling out the VA's mental health and suicide prevention department, right? Their massive $550 million budget that they have annualized, where that is a program that gets funded every year, and we are seeing an increase in suicides. We're not seeing a decrease, right? We're seeing an increase. Why are we continuing to fund that and then take away veterans' benefits? That's going to lead them to potentially suicide because of the problems that they're having in their own personal life. It's freaking madness. I don't understand. I shouldn't say I don't understand it. I understand completely what it is, and it's to, again, push the veteran into this place of I don't know, being ostracized, or you just take all that money.
It almost puts them in a veteran in a position of hopelessness too. It's like, wait a minute.
That's right. That's what I was looking for.
It's like they're like, well, shit. I can't get this fucking appointment for my behavioral health. I can't get this. U.S. Army W.T.F moments. We post call for attendances, and we post most recently. There's been some suicides that we don't give specific reasons, but I can say that some of them have ended their lives. Some of it's been frustration with the way the mental health, like you said, this right here has the veteran thinking. I mean, veterans like to overthink on a lot of shit. I mean, we catastrophize a lot. And so if they're watching this news while they're already waiting on a fucking appointment for, I don't know, 2-3 months, and they can't get their health care, and they haven't gotten any screenings, and you're hearing about this, it gets them to a point to where like that Marine Ramos who ended his life, in the VA parking lot. And I'll be honest with you, that we've noticed, and it's just me, I've noticed that being a trend more than anything else, where veterans now are ending their lives in VA parking lots to send that message out that they felt they are being forgotten. We are being forgotten. You know what I mean? And so it's really heartbreaking to see like you were saying, there's podcasters out. There's a podcaster out there right now that thinks veterans don't deserve this because they get something percentage. Caleb Hammer is his name, finance podcast, and all he does is talk about, oh well, you didn't do anything. Oh no, I was in the military for this long. Oh, so you get this, you get that, you get this, you get that, and then you're retired, but then you go to work to do this. How is that? You guys don't get, you know what I mean? It's that narrative that runs around that just like all the other veterans are like, yeah, even the podcasters hate me.
This is no different than workman's comp in a regular job.
Yes.
This is our workman's comp. And if we don't get this, it is a direct impact on national security, because who wants to join a military that's not going to take care of their people and going to take away those benefits at the whim of Congress? So it affects national security down the road.
It does.
And it does, yeah. Who wants to join then?
Yeah.
Who's going to join the military? It's dangerous. Every day in the military is hazardous. Whether you deploy or not, you're exposed to hazards. Who's going to join the military if it's so dangerous and yet you're not going to be taken care of?
Right, well,
who's going to join?
If anything else, that's what a lot of the I remember growing up. That was you get benefits when you get out. If you get hurt, that was the coined phrase back in the day. You know, you stay in, you get a pension, you get a career, and if you're injured, you'll get this, you'll get that, and it's stability. I mean, I heard it all. I mean, I was the wide-eyed, bushy-tailed recruit myself, and I'm like, oh, really? You get that? You know, cool. You know, and my dad being the Vietnam vet, well, yeah, don't believe all that shit, right? Just make sure that you to fight the VA. You're gonna fight the VA. Even when you get out, you're gonna fight the VA.
You got a whole generation of veterans tell you fight the VA. We're like, no, it's gonna be fine, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, because a lot of the Vietnam veterans, I'm noticing are saying that are now starting to get their compensation for what happened to them in Vietnam. Now, some of them now.
Decades later. Yeah,
decades later, and then now everyone's like, oh well, here you go. Yeah, you guys are causing division. No, everyone's highlighting the same shit. I mean, maybe they should look in the mirror.
Well, and people wonder why we as a country are spending money on veterans and their disabilities. It's because so many people fought in 2 wars, in the global war on terrorism, in many locations over a 20-year plus period of time. Of course, we're going to see an increase in disability claims, of course. So this is logical, but without the context of our previous conflicts, people think, oh, these numbers are just through the roof. And why is this happening right now? Well, because people fought and got injured, and because of modern medicine didn't die. They're gonna live the rest of their lives with these injuries, and they need compensation. They need healthcare. So it is a logical thing. You fight, just like Vietnam, we saw an expansion of benefits right after Vietnam because so many people served and had injuries that they carried with them for the rest of their lives.
What was that you're going to say?
I was about to say, reminds me of that meme of George Bush. Now watch my drive.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. People, I mean, it almost is like, yeah, we want you to join the military. And then matter of fact, I saw an editorial cartoon like that, and it's going to get posted on W.T.F Moments. It's an editorial cartoon of Uncle Sam recruiting, saying, we want you. And the guy's like, yeah, I want you. And then after the war, it's Uncle Sam with his back turned to the veteran, and that's going to go up sometime this week. But yeah,
I'll have to send you some of my old stuff. It's still relevant today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All I did was just Google. I just Googleized it. Editorial cartoons, Veterans Affairs, bam, and it went all the way back to 2004 even. And I'm just like, yeah, you got some memes? Hell yeah, we'll post it. But I don't understand how. We're like you were saying, Tim. Now we're now at the division. We're now at the divisive point. Everyone's all divisive on each other. Oh, this guy's saying this or this guy's saying that. Well, what are they saying? Yeah. No, you're just doing that because you're woke. No, I just want to know how come they're.
Yeah. Dude, I've had so many people that have texted me like that I've worked on the trail with on a lot of these issues, saying, "I can't believe you would put the shirt together, like the violence you were inciting, like get you sanctimonious sons of bitches, get off your horse. What are you talking about?
Just look at their
Like,
campaign.
get a hold of your emotions.
Yeah,
Like,
they're triggered. They're triggered.
Like,
Where was the outrage when this image was originally first used last year? Why is the outrage now?
Right.
Is it because the VFW doesn't
We wore
support
that button
this
at my
bill?
testimony, and not one word was said about it.
You wore that? That's what I'm talking about, Carol. So
All those members of Congress that sat in front of us said not a peep about that image, but now there's a problem with the image because of the timing, because of the bill.
Yeah. I'm about to say, how many of them were wearing the AR-15 lapel pins when all the talk about the Second Amendment was going? How many of them were wearing that shit?
And crazily enough, guys, this is the second shirt of a campaign that we've been working with the VFW on. This had nothing to do with this act. There's nothing to do with this, right? It just happened to drop at the right time because it's a mirror. It's a mirror.
Yep. Yep. So if they took offense to it, there was a reason.
Right, exactly. So I'm not here to shill shirts, but I'm going to say go on the Grunt Style website and you'll see it.
I will tell you that Mike Bose, thank you. From one Marine to another, I got to tell you, I'm going to present you with Salesman of the Year. It's going to be a Blue Falcon trophy, so just kind of accept that for what it's worth. But you are like the single best seller we have right now out in the marketplace, for Grunt Style. So, keep up the great work. Keep talking shit. Use the parade, the talking points. Go get your DoD friends. Get some more stuff. And
there are far worse T-shirts out there that he should be offended by, not by this.
That's right. Damn it! There should be far more.
It wasn't, but like 6-7 months ago, we were working with you both on informed signatory consent, which we think is one of the most important things in Senate right now to get across the finish line that will save veterans' lives. Not talking about fake nonsense like this. So let's get ourselves let's get refocused on what's real and what's important. And let's get across the finish line and save veterans' lives. That's the most important part here.
Yeah, stop trying to divide service organizations and stop crying about a T-shirt. Let's get the business done at hand that needs to be done, and that's getting the Major Richard Starr Act as a clean bill done.
Yep. What's I'm about to say? Okay, no shit, Tam. Who's been buying the shirt? Anybody that you anybody in Congress buying some of them shirts?
I won't say.
Everyone's like, yeah, I got people in the comments there. I'm gonna buy me a shirt. Matthew says you're gonna present Bose with a dildo. Congratulations, you're getting a dildo. It's not the shirt he was referring to. Yeah, my shirts are almost ready to ship. Isn't neglecting the care for your vets inciting violence? Ooh, that's a good question. Exactly.
What was that?
Isn't neglecting the care for your vets incitement of violence? I mean,
I'll tell you what I'm super excited about is that the company is working very, very hard to get this shirt produced and available for full inventory, so that the entire VFW for their national convention is going to have it. And they're going to be able to go back to their hometowns, and they're going to be able to say, look at this great shirt, guys. And it's everything that we stand for and what we believe in. You should go buy one too. And they're going to do that. And then we're going to keep selling those. And we're going to, like, Mike, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this is the greatest thing you've ever done for us. But the best thing you can do for us is help us pass informed signatory consent and all the other things that we're working on.
So the signatory consent, go ahead. Can you go ahead and enlighten everybody on the signatory consent?
There's a lot of things here that I think are important.
Just the wave tops.
I'll talk a little bit about the informed signatory consent, because it is a passion project of ours at the Grunt Style Foundation, and it's a legislative directive of the VFW to be
Correct.
engaged in that one of the priorities. So we've been working out side by side on that for the last 2 years, and it's one of the real reasons we got connected in this relationship is to bring some of these bigger issues to the attention of the public. And through the work of our organizations, we've got 2 bills up both in the House and the Senate. We've worked our influences with the Secretary Doug Collins to shift some policy inside of the VA. So, what we really have, guys, here is an opportunity to shift policy inside the VA and then codify it to make it last forever. And that's how you win in the Senate. That's how you win in Congress. And that's how you make systemic change, is that you ramrod this stuff and then you protect it, like we did with the PACT Act, like we did with a bunch of other stuff, because the VFW knows what they're doing.
That's true. I mean, just a little context on this. So veterans with mental health conditions go to VA and are often prescribed, psychotropics, depression medication, and they don't always know how they're going to interact with other medications, what the side effects are going to be. And some of the side effects of the medications they're on are suicidal ideations. And so, to try to better protect veterans, we want to impose and instill written informed consent so that veterans are talking to their providers about the full spectrum of the impact of that medication and alternatives. What else could be helping their mental health conditions versus these, often behavior, influencing medications, depression medications and anxiety medications and others, which may not be the best solution for every single veteran that comes to the VA. So it's a simple policy, but it could have a huge impact on well-being.
And it's what I think it's very important here to recognize is that at no point is anybody here saying that these medicines aren't good for for administrating, right? What we're saying is the way that they're being administrated now is not conducive to the mental health of the pool they're being used on, and we need to do a better job there, right? There's no data that exists beyond 8 weeks on a lot of these SSRIs, but we find the average length time of these users are far beyond 8 weeks. We often see it between 3 to 5 years at high dose rates, right? And there's no data that the VA is bringing out and putting out in front of everybody to go through. They don't supply that in the National Suicide Prevention document they put out every year, right? So we don't know what that is really doing to the greater mental health of these individuals, especially when polypharma starts occurring, because when you start on these medications, you often find, to Kristina's point, 15 different medications later that you're taking to offset all the things that you started off with, just wanting to combat anxiety. But the next thing you know, you get sexual dysfunction and your zapped brain, and you wanted to quit smoking, and now you kill yourself.
Yeah, I remember that we talked about how the VA wanted to give me trazodone. Remember I was telling you I'm having some problems sleep, and I'm like, and literally was straight out of their mouth. Oh well, this is not an antidepressant that we normally give, and this is the side effect is you get to sleep. And I'm thinking, but I'm what's going to happen if I stop?
Yeah. Well, why does the VA use that? It has a 68% higher suicidal ideation rate than its counterpart that is just a little bit more money.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody deserves an alternative method. Once you start taking pills, there becomes a time that the efficacy doesn't work, and you have to keep taking higher and higher doses of everything. Where does it stop? Everybody deserves an alternative method to help them. What works for Tim may not work for me or Kristina.
Right, exactly. Unless we talk about the alternative homeopathy methods of alternative medicines, which I know for some reason, didn't the VA, are we supposed to be somewhere at this? What's the status and all that? With psychedelics and medicinal marijuana and where are we at with the VA on this?
There's ongoing research and clinical studies, particularly I think the latest one is MDMA assisted therapy, which is in the process of beginning at VA. So, I mean, the secretary appears to be genuine in wanting to move research forward. And Tim and us at the VFW have worked on more legislation to try to get those things moving even quicker, so that you see that there's research, but that it leads to actual outcomes, and that veterans can have alternatives based off of the clinical trials that VA completes themselves.
Mm-hmm.
VA can be a leader in this whole alternative therapies research and development that I think could be beneficial also to the greater public, because veterans are interested in non-pharmaceutical therapies for their mental health care.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I don't like, for some reason, pills just gives, I don't know. For me, it's just not for me. So guys, Carol Whitmore, VFW National Commander, Kristina Keenan, VFW National Legislative Services Liaison. Directors. God damn it. Fucking sorry. And of course, Tim Jensen, Grunt Style Foundation. Big boss over at Grunt Style 2. Make sure you get the shirts. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. This has been fun and also very informative. If there's, of course, you guys are always welcome to come back to Shoot the Breeze. Right now, as far as all the legislative stuff happening, where are we at right now for this dirty bill? Right, where are we at right now for that? Yeah, I know that aren't they gonna vote this? You said sometime next week or this week or something like that.
We shall see. Congress is in recess right now,
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what the plan is for next week. But I mean, VFW is asking for advocates, which could be veterans or non-veterans, to go to our website and look at our action alert and take action. Send a message to your member of Congress, letting them know that there are some good things in this bill, but it ultimately has a poison pill pay for that we strongly oppose.
And that is powerful. We proved that, several months ago when our voice was made heard with Secretary Collins about our concerns about changing the VA ratings, and that stopped. So our voices are powerful, and we have to remember that. It is strength in numbers.
If people are concerned about this issue, call their member of Congress.
Yeah, exactly.
The pressure is helping.
Exactly.
And the VFW does a really fine job with creating the resources on the website. It's very seamless, very easy. So go do it, right? Just make your voice get heard. Because the great thing is, they have to respond. So send them 800 messages.
Can you put them on a bot or something like that? I'm just kidding. I don't want to. I want to say certain parties enjoy that blank bot type of voting.
Yeah, and anybody can do it. You don't have to be VFW or military. Any civilian can get on there and take action on our action alerts. Go to vfw.org.
All right, there we go. As a matter of fact, I think there's a votervoice.net. You guys have a?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it right there. I'm going to drop that sucker in all the chats right now.
Appreciate
so the entire planet can see it.
Thanks so much.
And also,
it counts. It all counts.
Somebody said, so you want about 800 memes or something like that? Somebody said you want some memes.
Send it. America. The one thing I love about America, of many things I love about America, is that the American has one of the most unique senses of humor that you'll find nowhere else on the planet.
Agreed.
And we could be some of the most ruthless at our meme game.
Yes.
And it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing. It's my greatest pastime. It's just now, it's not baseball anymore. It's meme scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Scrolling the memes.
We can do it. Russia, their civilians can't do this. Venezuela, they can't do this. We are so lucky that, the American veteran has provided this vehicle for people to have a voice, whichever way they want it. And so it's important to remember that we have that capability.
That's a great point. We're Americans. The government should never be telling us to sit down.
Right. Exactly. All right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what's the status of the soccer game there, Kristina?
she's trying hard not to look at it.
Oh, 3-1 Belgium. Oh, guys, no.
It's not going well. It's not going well.
What? Say that again. They won?
No, 3-1 Belgium.
Oh, 3
Yeah,
to 1.
Belgium is kicking our butts.
Oh, man.
That's too bad.
I'm going to have to throw waffles in the street to protest. Oh,
Not
man.
over though. It's not over.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And of course, we appreciate you guys coming on again. You guys are always welcome to come back and shoot the breeze, onesies, twosies, or group again like this. And guys, gals out in the webosphere, thank you guys so much for hanging out as well. And again, shout out to the VFW for coming on.
Yeah, thanks you.
you.
When my term is done at the end of the month, I'll still be involved legislatively. I don't care how I have to do it. Tim, I'll sit with you on a congressional step any day, to make sure that we get the right things done. So be prepared.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the wall of shame there, the veteran justice page there, Tim.
That's right.
All right, you guys can hang out for a minute while I close this out. So you guys have a good night. See you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.